Santos got kicked out of Congress, I saw. And you know what else happened? When Santos was kicked out, he's burning everything to the ground. He's throwing dirt all over the place. On Twitter, he's been talking about all the stuff that he learned about congressmen and their ethics violations and dirty dealings and everything. Oh, I love it to death. Keep going, George. Keep going. I'll call you whatever the hell you want. I'll call you Anthony DeVolder, George Santos, or Kitara, whatever. You name it. I will call you whatever you want if you just keep dropping that dirt. Monday's fourth ethics report will be filed on Congressman Menendez, not to be confused with the senator. While Congressman Menendez has not been invoked by the diligent investigation of DOJ into his father, there remains a question of what did he know and when did he know it. The complaint to seek clarification from the freshman congressman on his involvement with his father's overseas dealing over the years and any potential compensation he received. I think it's a fair point to make sure that we weed out the doubt surrounding Representative Menendez and his business associations. I love it, dude. Keep dropping this dirt, man. Let's see who will be the Republican that will have the testicular fortitude to pick up my privileged motion to expel Bowman and reintroduce it. Let's talk about hypocrisy. Can someone ask Nicole Milo's stock tips? When did she become a savant in stock trading? The signature bank trade she did reeks of insider trading, much like Paul Pelosi's every trade. Nicole is in it for herself. Just look at her record, and it speaks for itself. Monday, I will be filing an official complaint with the Office of Congressional Ethics against N. Malatakis, or I'm not sure if that's right, regarding her questionable stock trading since joining the Ways and Means Committee this Congress. Before joining the committee, the Congresswoman didn't have any active trading habit or high-volume stake. The question is, what set of information is she trading with? Keep going, George. You know what? You tell me what you want me to believe, and I'll believe it, bud. You want me to believe that you're the quarterback for the Patriots? You got it. You're the quarterback for the Patriots. Keep busting this stuff out, man. I'm begging you. I love everything about it, man. He's going to return his Nobel Prizes, right? Like, some of the shit he said is just mind-blowingly ridiculous. Santos, that is. But you know what? Like I said, I'll believe him. You tell me what you want me to believe, and I'll believe it, bud. I'm your Huckleberry. Quick interjection, this won't take long. I just want to say, if you want to support my channel, the best way you can do it is by watching this video to the end, or at least watching a little bit longer than you would have otherwise. YouTube's recommendation algorithm works off of watch time. You can also subscribe to the channel, like the video, and check out my Patreon. Link is in the description for that. Alright, back to the video. This is a guy named Jack Hibbs. He's a televangelist. Early May 2022, he comes out here and fearmongers about abortion to his congregants. Listen to this.
Let me tell you something. The Democrat Party is a death cult. Every single Democrat voted to kill babies up in Sacramento last week out of the womb. Kill them. Kill them, they said. Kill them.
He thinks people were saying, kill the babies, kill them. Like, he can't just leave it at, I believe that abortion is murder and these people want abortions to be accessible by people who need them. He has to say, people are calling to kill them, they said, kill them. Insane, man. Absolutely nuts. Well, I got some voicemails about this, so I wanted to talk about it. By the way, voicemail number is 1-800-701-8573 if you want to call in. If your voicemail's between 45 seconds and a minute, then I'm nearly guaranteed to listen to it. All right, check this voicemail out I got.
Hi, Owen. It's Liv from Minnesota, and I have a question about the abortion verse.
The abortion verse to which they're referring is Numbers 5:11-22, I think, and it's a test for an unfaithful wife, basically. They didn't have paternity tests back then, so if there was ever any doubt of the kid's lineage, which is extremely important in Jewish culture, then you would take the wife to the priest, and the priest would whip up a concoction that the wife would drink, and if it wasn't your baby, then she would have a miscarriage, i.e., the priest would perform an abortion on the wife. That's what Numbers 5:11-22 says. It is an endorsement of abortion because the lineage needs to be preserved. So in that one section, the Bible endorses abortion, and it doesn't talk about it anywhere else in the entire Bible. Anywhere. Ever. The verse that's commonly used to fight against abortion by evangelicals is one in I think Ezekiel, where it talks about God basically predetermining or predestining this guy's existence. He said he was a prophet of God, and he knew he was going to exist long before he even came into existence. That's what the verse said. And from that they pull, life begins at conception. It's insane. I don't even know what to do with that. Let alone the verses about what happens if you injure a mother or injure a pregnant woman and how much you're supposed to pay her or pay the family for the injury or whatever. A pregnant woman, if she has a miscarriage, is owed a certain amount of money. It's not even that high. I don't even remember what it was now. It's not murder. They had murder charges back then. It was simply a fine for causing a miscarriage in a woman. So all the way back when the Bible was being written, these people did not view it this way. It wasn't until like the 1970s or the 80s that the evangelical movement really picked up on the anti-abortion train because they thought they'd be able to use it to their advantage to get people whipped into a blood frenzy. And boy, were they right. With that context in mind, the caller is calling about Numbers 5:11-22, about the test for an unfaithful wife. Let's listen.
Hi, Owen. It's Liv from Minnesota, and I have a question about the abortion verse. I'm all for abortion and everything, but if you said that the old law was fulfilled when Jesus came back, wouldn't that mean that the Numbers verse would be irrelevant to some Christians now because of the old law thing, or I don't know. It was just some general confusion that I had, and I just wanted answered. Thank you. Have a good rest of your day.
Yeah, I appreciate the call. Very interesting question and a valuable question to ask. The thing is, Jesus is the center of Christianity, right? Everything revolves around him. Everything that he said is law. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. If Jesus said it, Christians are supposed to follow it. If it was contradicted earlier or later, those contradictions are ignored. That's how it's supposed to be, right? The book of Numbers, that thing about an unfaithful wife, the test for an unfaithful wife, that wasn't in the old law to my knowledge. That was just a test that they performed, I believe. And it is the only mention anywhere in the entire Bible about abortion. It's the only thing that we have to look to. Jesus didn't say a word about abortion, which means that by the property of omission, abortion should be allowed within the Christian church because Jesus didn't talk about it. In fact, nobody did, not even Paul. Nobody did. But if you need that extra step, the Bible does endorse it. The Old Testament does. That's really what I'm saying with it. Yeah, the Old Testament was fulfilled and done away with, and we should only be reading the Gospels accounts, really, as Christians. Only the Gospels are relevant to Christians. So within that framework, within that context, it says nothing about abortion. Anyway, thanks for the call. I appreciate that.
Hey, Owen, this is Alex from Michigan, a.k.a. Progress Only. Just wanted to thank you for covering John Cooper on Flashpoint this past Tuesday.
Yeah, John Cooper is the singer from Skillet, the band Skillet. Apparently Skillet is super, super popular. I had no idea. I'd never heard of him before. Famous band who happens to be a Christian band, and John Cooper is a right-wing Trumpist nutcase, as it turns out. So I covered him recently on my Owen Unfiltered YouTube channel. If you want to see that, it's pretty interesting. Anyways, back to the voicemail.
Point this past Tuesday, as someone who grew up in the Christian radio world, parents on the radio station, if you remember, got to talk to him when as a youth during a lock-in at a local university New Year's Eve 2000-2001. And ever since I came out, it's like, wow, this guy turned into a major piece of And looking into it, there's other bands that are played on mainstream radio that are tied to the same record company and group and have the same views as John Cooper, including the band Red, including the band POD. And it's just the infiltration of infiltration into non-Christian specific genres by Christian artists to kind of cover themselves, and not even Christians in general, like the extremist Flashpoint style Christians. It's just disturbing that all those things that I saw in my childhood growing up that I was told would be a good thing to happen are turning out to be the worst thing for America. So just want to let you know that. Thanks again. Bye.
Yeah, absolutely. Agreed. And sadly, some of the bands that I listened to when I was younger are completely off the deep end also. Trapped, the song Headstrong, famously, they wrote that song. They were COVID deniers, they were Trump supporters, they were vaccine deniers, and they're just complete nutcases out of their heads. Smash Mouth, same thing. Smash Mouth is just, all-star. Hey, now you're an all-star, get your game on, go play. That's Smash Mouth. Completely gone. Those people are nuts. They are about as deep in the Trump bubble as you can possibly get. And then there's Creed. Creed was actually a band that I listened to a lot. My mom got me an album, one of their albums. She didn't realize that they were moving in a Christian direction, or she wouldn't have gotten it for me. But I was actually a huge fan of Creed for a while there. I listened to a whole bunch of their albums. Scott Stapp was the singer there, and he was the songwriter and the one pushing it in a Christian direction. The rest of the band didn't like it. They're like, what are you doing? You're pushing us in a Christian direction. We don't want this. We don't want to be a Christian band. But, they got famous off of some of their most Christian music, so it is what it is. But Scott Stapp used to get completely drunk off his ass at concerts while he was performing on stage, just mind burned from the alcohol. I think he went to rehab, I'm not sure, but now he's doing the podcast circuit because his wife was in a far-right evangelical extremist movie recently. I think it was, I don't remember which movie it was. Maybe one of Dinesh D'Souza's movies? Not 2000 Mules, but the new one. Anyway, Police State, maybe? I'm not sure. But yeah, she was in a far-right movie, which tells me that he is also on the far, far, far right. And that's just really disappointing to find out, These bands that you really enjoyed are just mind-burned. Just saying, I really like Three Doors Down, particularly Duck and Run. Then they decided to play for Trump. Did they? Three Doors Down played for Trump? I did not know that. Oh, man. Oh, that's so disappointing, man. What's really funny is that Donald Trump is like a massive Elton John fan, has been his whole life. And he begged Elton John to play for him, and he just kept telling him to go fuck himself. I love it. I love everything about it. Three Doors Down played at Trump's inauguration in 2017, and guitarist Chris Henderson has no apologies. We got a lot of backlash about playing the inauguration, and we don't care, he said in a recent telephone interview. I didn't hear about that. That's really sad. I liked Three Doors Down also. That is a shame, man. It's so sad to find out that, the people that you listened to are such gullible suckers, They fell for it. Kind of heartbreaking.
Hi, this is Jennifer from Georgia. I've listened to your show for a pretty long time now, but I've never called. I wanted to say that I heard you talking about abortion and how it was manufactured and it hadn't been a Christian problem until the 70s. I wanted to say that you should read Jesus and John Wayne by Kristen Kobes-Dumez, because she actually lays everything out in a timeline and shows the takeover of the evangelical movement in American politics. So, again, it's great listening to your show.
Yeah, I appreciate the voicemail, and I just want to let you know that I did get the book on Audible. I'm going to give it a read, see if I can find the time to do that, and I appreciate the recommendation. Super interesting subject. When you find out that evangelical Christians manufactured this entire thing, it changes your perspective on the whole abortion debate or the whole abortion problem or whatever. I mean, it not only is it not in the Bible, that abortion is bad, but it's actually endorsed in certain spots. When you realize that, there's no going back. You realize that these people really are scam artists. Complete scam artists. Anyway, thank you guys so much for the voicemails. I really appreciate that. By the way, I don't know if you guys heard about this. There was a Winnie the Pooh book that came out called Run, Hide, Fight, and it was supposed to teach kids what to do in an active shooter situation in school, right? Well, I actually bought one of the books. I bought it, Run, Hide, Fight. And I intend to go through the entire thing on my channel. If you guys want to watch, then stick around for that. It's going to be on my main channel. It even came with a curriculum. I'm sorry, a lesson plan. Lesson plan, not curriculum. Came with a lesson plan. We're going to go through the whole thing. Lesson plan and all. Student prerequisites. None. This is the lesson plan. Course objectives. Familiarize young students with the concepts of run, hide, fight in response to a dangerous school intruder, active shooter scenario. The Stay Safe K-6 learning curriculum is specifically designed to reinforce and visually imprint children with the concepts of run, hide, fight, while utilizing age-appropriate materials that is less frightening to young minds. There are separate age-appropriate curriculums and materials for older children. Here's an alternative possibility. Let me just toss this one around for you. How about we make guns a lot harder to access? If you want a gun, you can have one. Without question, that's not in dispute or being violated. But you have to prove to me and the rest of society that you know how to handle a gun. You know not to wave it around all willy-nilly. You know to keep the safety on. You know not to put your finger on the trigger unless you're going to shoot. You know not to point it at anybody, even as a joke. You know that when you are moving it somewhere, it should be pointed away from people under all circumstances. You need to prove that you know all that stuff to me, and you need to renew that license every year. I don't mean you have to sign a piece of paper and they send you a new one. I mean retake the class once a year. Institute a gun buyback program. If people want to sell their guns back to the government for money, they can. Not forced to, but you're welcome to if you'd like. I want to see that. I haven't even banned assault rifles yet. If we could do some of those things, maybe we wouldn't need a book like this. Run, Hide, Fight with Winnie the Pooh. Manhattan is a gun-free zone, largely. You're allowed to have one if you have a concealed carry permit and everything, but you have to, really jump through hoops to prove that you're capable of handling it. There has not been a school shooting in Manhattan in 30 years, I think. Last one in Manhattan was 1906. One person killed, 1906. Point is, there's a way to deal with this stuff, and Manhattan seems to have figured it out pretty well.